James's task. James is a fine red engine who works very hard on the Fat Controller's railway. One morning, James had a very important job of collecting newspapers from a jetty. After the newspapers had been delivered by boat from the mainland, James collected and delivered them to the shopkeepers on the Island of Sodor. Harold flew overhead. "Have you heard the news? Thomas is having a new coat of paint," said Harold. "That's old news," replied James. "I'm always first with the latest news." As James pulled in beside the station for the jetty, he saw several bundles of newspapers stacked around the platform. "Those must be today's newspapers waiting for me," thought James. "Please hurry and load the newspapers," James called impatiently. The heavy bundles were loaded onto a truck. "I mustn't be late with the news," said James. With all the newspaper bundles were loaded, James steamed away. The workman mopped his brow after all his hard work. Suddenly he saw a man approaching. "Excuse me," said the man. "I'm from a paper recycling plant. I've to collect the old newspapers from a harbour." "Old newspapers?" said the workman. "Oh dear, there's been a mix-up." Meanwhile, James had travelled a long way with the wrong newspapers. "I've got to hurry," he chuffed. "It's important that the people get the latest news on time." James reached the main station, and his driver unloaded the bundles of newspapers to be delivered to the newsagents. "These are old newspapers," said the shopkeeper. At that moment, Harold flew overhead. "Don't worry, James. I've brought today's newspapers for you." It was Harold the helicopter, lowering the newspapers on a rope. "You've collected the old newspapers which were meant for the recycling plant," explained Harold. "I picked up the bundles of today's newspapers and flew them here as quickly as I could." The shopkeeper untied big bundles of the new newspapers as Harold lowered them gently to the ground. "Thank you very much, Harold," the shopkeeper called after Harold. "My customers wouldn't have liked getting old newspapers." Once the bundles of old newspapers had been pulled aboard Harold, he flew off once more. "I'll take these old newspapers to the recycling plants for reuse," he called, smiling. "You weren't first with the news today, James." Spotless. The Fat Controller came to work. He wore a boiler suit. "What's happened to your usual clothes?" Startled Henry gave a toot. "We're short of staff, and I must help," the Fat Controller said. "I'd get my best clothes dirty, so I put these on instead." He swept the yard and platforms till they look as good as new. Then the Fat Controller changed again, so he was spotless too.